Yes, sir.
Somebody is having a problem with the microphone. Please mute it. Guys, okay, do you see the OneNote page here?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yes,
last
sir.
time what we did was we studied the different types of amplifiers. Just to have a summary of the amplifier types, what we saw was the amplifiers can be classified as voltage amplifier, current amplifier, transconductance amplifier, and trans resistance amplifier. The ideal values of the gain, rather the input impedance, the output impedance are there in front of you. Okay, please remember these values correctly. Okay, now we're going to start with a very interesting thing, that is the operational amplifier details or internals. Now there are various things that you have to first of all understand, and that is number one. The question number one is why the op amp or operational amplifier. This is the most important question before we start with anything else. Okay, so people thought that, like the digital gates, which are the basic building blocks of any digital circuit, specifically we have the NAND gate and the NOR gate, which we call as the universal gates. And so using these gates, you can build any digital circuit. In a similar way, people thought, yes, why not have, rather this was a precursor to that, saying that why can't we always require an amplifier. So an amplifier as a building block is an attractive thing. Okay, so you must have an amplifier, okay, a voltage amplifier specifically. And why not make a, let us say, a fixed block which will give us sufficient gain, and I can configure this amplifier for various different applications. Okay, with that concept, the operational amplifier, the idea of operational amplifier basically dates back to even 1920s, where there were, let us say, people were using, they were not using semiconductor devices, but were using the thermionic devices, which we used to call as the valves. Okay, so they said, why not have a block? Okay, block which is a building block. Okay, and it is going to simply do the job of amplifying the input signal. Okay, so this will be the amplifier as a two-port network. Okay. So with that concept, we started developing this particular block, and the idea that occurred to the person, I don't just remember the name of that person, but the engineer over there, he got that idea while traveling in a local train somewhere in the US. So that is how the idea came into existence, and the concept of operational amplifier was then implemented. Now, basically, if you remember the design of a single stage voltage amplifier, okay. So why can't you use the single stage common emitter voltage amplifier as a building block? This is our basic question here. Okay, you already amplifier, common emitter amplifier. So this was the VCC. This was your transistor. This was your Q1, R1, and this was your R2. This is capacitance C2. You already know this. We have already seen the design of such a kind of thing. This was your input voltage. RS, VS. This was your VI. Of course, with respect to ground, and you have the load, call as RL. This was RC. Sorry, this was RE. This is R1, and this is R2. This is C1. This is C3. So, do you remember this configuration? It is a single stage common emitter voltage amplifier. Do you remember this, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what is the gain? What is the voltage gain of this circuit? Minus HFE into RC parallel RL divided by HIE. Do you remember this, guys? Guys, is this okay? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now, once we know this is the gain which we have already derived in the last course, what is the bad thing about this that you see? Can anyone tell me? Suppose you want to design such a circuit. You have already designed such a circuit. You are supposed to manufacture 100 such units, 100 such amplifiers.
So the
What will be the problem?
H parameters may not be the same every time.
Yes, specifically the most deciding factor is this. And you know that the HFE, sometimes we call this as beta AC also, which is not going to be same for all the 100 transistors that you use in this. Is that clear? And that transistor beta may change from anywhere from 50 to 200, for example. Then what will be the problem? What would be the problem? Your amplifier will have different gains. Okay, one unit that you manufacture, I'll call this as 0, unit number 1. So it will exhibit a gain of somewhere, let us say, you already know, let us say 100. Then the second unit that you manufacture will have a different gain, 150, and so on and so forth. So what is the problem that you have here? That you don't have the same gain. Is it acceptable? Is this thing acceptable? Guys?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Why not? Why not?
Sir, because it will be difficult to calculate desired output.
Say, for example, if you are designing such an amplifier for public address system or music system, so each amplifier that you design, each unit that you design will have different outputs, different volume outputs, which will be totally wrong. Or in simple plain words, what we say is this particular circuit, this particular amplifier, which is a single stage common emitter amplifier without any feedback, happens to be heavily dependent on transistor parameters. Well, we found out the solution for that also. What is the solution? What is the solution?
Making the key point independent of
We want to make the voltage gain independent of the HFE or beta AC, right? So what we did, we have already done this. what we did was we used the beautiful concept of negative feedback. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Suppose you have an amplifier. We are going to derive this again. We have already done this with the voltage gain AV, open loop voltage gain, of course, and then this is the output voltage VO. This was your source voltage Vs. Okay, and then we did something here. Here we called it as the input to the amplifier. Remember this? What we did? Guys, what is this? Yes, please respond.
Feedback.
It is the negative feedback that we are giving. And we have seen the advantages of negative feedback also. Don't you remember that? I think I had a session on feedbacks during EDA. And I am telling you this again and again, that if you don't keep on refreshing your concepts regarding all the things that we have done in EDA, you will not be able to understand anything else later on. Because everything is built up on those concepts. Anyways, since I'm the same person who is conducting this particular course, whose prerequisites happen to be taught by myself, so I'll be refreshing those ideas over here, those concepts over here. So as I was telling, don't miss any lecture as far as LIC is concerned, because most of your concepts are going to be revised here. Okay, so yes, let us derive the output equation for the output voltage. Okay, so first of all, you have VO, which is given as AV into, yes, anyone? So here it was VO itself, and we are feeding some part of it. So what will be having here at the output? Beta times VO. We are feeding a small part of the output back to the input of the amplifier. Okay? So what do we get at the output? AV into your input voltage VI. Simple. But what is VI? What is VI? What is VI composed of? It is the addition of these two voltages. Vs, addition in the sense, this is negative. Please remember this. So this is Vs minus beta times
Beta.
VO. Is this clear? So I can write here AV into Vs minus beta times VO. If I expand this, I will get AV into Vs minus AV into beta into VO. So if I take this term, second term on the left hand side, what do I get? VO plus AV into beta into VO is AV into Vs. Now I can take out V out common, becomes 1 plus AV into beta is equal to AV into Vs.
Yes.
So what is the overall voltage gain with feedback? AVF. It is going to be VO by Vs. So using this equation, what do I get? VO by Vs as AV divided by, yes, 1 plus AV into beta. This is a very, very important equation. See how we have derived it. Have all of you understood the derivation? Guys? Guys, respond please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, then what have we achieved? So I can say that the overall voltage gain with feedback, that is the reason why I'm appending this particular suffix over here, prefix over here, suffix over here, that is AVF is VO divided by VS, that is output voltage divided by the source or supply voltage, I mean the supply signal voltage, is equal to open loop voltage, open loop gain. AV is called as the open loop gain. All right, which we have already established over here. This was the AV. All right. Now, interesting thing. Don't lose the sight of the big picture. Why are we doing this? So that a variation in AV will not affect AVF. And variation in AV is bound to be there. And we don't want AVF to change much or change at all, as a matter of fact. So, when will that be possible? When will AVF be independent of AV? When will AVF be independent of AV is my question. Yes? Any ideas?
Sir, AVF must be exceptionally large.
If AV is
high.
high, why not make it infinity? So, if I make AV large, what will be the effective value of AV? F. If I make AV sufficiently large, I can say that yes,
Approximately.
it is nearly equal to 1 by. Is this okay with all of you? Or do you need any explanation is required?
No, sir.
For those who have not understood this, okay, take out AV common, 1 by AV plus beta. So this will cancel off. This will give me 1 divided by 1 by AV plus beta. Now if AV is infinity, what will happen? This will be 1 by beta. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Guys, have you understood this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what is
Yes,
the
sir.
requirement that my closed loop gain is independent of AV? Just to make sure that the open loop, we write here like this. So open loop voltage gain should be as high as possible. This is very important. And in fact, if you remember, we had designed one single stage common emitter amplifier. There I had made a statement. What was it? We start with the highest possible gain. We always start with the highest possible gain. We'll aim for the highest possible gain. Understood?
मम्मी डिस्कस करने की जरूरत नहीं बा
Hello?
उनके सुना के
Hello?
अब तुरंत नहीं छोड़ दो तू बोल दिया हम कहीं जाए
Somebody is not really serious about these lectures. Okay. So have you understood this concept? Guys,
Yes, sir.
okay. So if I ever want to make a generic building block or voltage amplifier, what should be my first criteria? If so, requirements of a generic building block, that is a voltage amplifier, what should be my very first requirement? Guys,
The voltage gain should be very high.
yes. Don't say that. Say open loop AV of the amplifier should be as high as possible. If you consider ideal, it will be infinity. Okay, let us not get confused here. Ideally, infinity. Okay, now since we are designing such an amplifier, which we are going to use as a building block, what should be the input impedance? Input impedance should be, guys,
So infinity.
yes, very high. Ideally, infinity. We have already seen that.
Infinity.
What about the output impedance?
Very low.
Very good. Ideally,
Zero.
0. Very good.
0.
Number 4, what about the bandwidth? What about the bandwidth? What do you mean by bandwidth? What do you mean by bandwidth?
Mid frequency gain.
Yes, it is actually the frequency response of the amplifier. So you have frequency on the x-axis. You have gain, maybe in dB. And we have already seen that there is some interference here.
मम्मी इधर आ 1 मिनट
अरे
1 मिनट आओ 1 मिनट
ये क्या हो रहा है ये? Okay, so the bandwidth we have already seen. We have plotted the bandwidth, and it was looking like this, of course. So this was. So you come down 3 dB. I've told you that minus 3 dB from this, and what you get is the bandwidth. This is FL. This is FH. And the bandwidth is given as FH minus FH. If you remember, guys, do you remember this? Frequency response. Guys,
Yes, sir.
I'm getting a very poor response. So we had this bandwidth. Okay, and then we said that we purposely restricted this FH, no doubt about that. But then ideally we would expect that the frequency response would be an ideal frequency response which starts right from 0 and continues up to infinity without any change in the gain. So this green line is the ideal frequency response of an ideal amplifier. So we would want the bandwidth of our dream amplifier to be infinite hertz. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In fact, these four, along with some other parameters, form what is called as the characteristics of an ideal operational amplifier. This is a very peculiar question being asked. Enlist the characteristics of an ideal operational amplifier. So in that situation, you would definitely write down these things. So have you understood these first four things first of all?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts, any questions here?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts, any questions here? I hope not. Then we are going to see one more interesting thing, and that is called as the slew rate. We are going to talk about this in more details. But what exactly do you mean by slew rate? For any operation, any amplifier, as a matter of fact. Okay, if I have an amplifier, most of the time the amplifiers are drawn like this, with this symbol. So if my input signal is a fast moving signal, so if my input signal is a square wave, for example, now that depends on the transient response of the of the amplifier, specifically how fast it can generate the output with the input. So if you look at the practical amplifier, you will not get an output exactly like this, but you will get an output which may look like this. I'm exaggerating things, by the way. Do you see the difference here? Do you see the difference? Guys, what is the difference? It simply means that the output is not able to follow the input as fast as the input is available. So this rate of change, if we call this as dVo, d by dt of Vo, is not infinite. For practical operation, a practical amplifier, this is not infinite. This is a finite value. But for an ideal amplifier, we would want this to be, yes, infinite, so that it actually follows the input as fast as it changes. Are you able to understand this, guys?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
we
sir.
want the slew rate to be infinite also. Okay, we'll see a few more things later on. So how you should start designing the amplifier, which is going to be your generic amplifier or the basic building block. We have already seen that this also can be used as the basic building block with feedback, of course. Okay. But then what will be the problem? There are a couple of problems associated with the single stage amplifier. What are they? So shall we use or can we use the single stage amplifier as a generic amplifier? Or let me put it this way. Let us see the block diagram of a typical operational amplifier and then discuss things out there. So the block diagram of a typical op-amp. This is another question that many times is asked in the examinations. So let us draw the blocks. This is the input stage. Then you have signals coming out like this. This is called as the intermediate state. Then you have a level shifting stage, and finally the output stage. And you get the output. This is a voltage amplifier. Let us say the first stage, voltage amplifier, second stage. Then you have this as the emitter follower, and this is a complementary symmetry push-pull amplifier. Okay. So is this block diagram clear to all of you? What we do is,
Yes, sir.
basically, why do we have two stages of voltage amplification? Why do we require two stages of voltage amplification? Let me see if you have understood the concept. Yes? Why do we require two-stage voltage amplification here?
The voltage amplification from single stage is not sufficient.
Exactly. So we started our basic discussion with saying that we should have open loop voltage gain of the amplifier as high as possible, and that is not possible with a single stage. So what we do is we go for a two-stage amplification. Are you able to understand this, all of you? this ensures voltage amplifier 1 and voltage amplifier 2, they will ensure that you have a very large open loop voltage gain. Okay, we are going to discuss each and everything in very much details. Okay, so now what should be your choice of circuit for this as well as this stage? Can we use single stage common emitter voltage amplifier?
Sir,
Yes,
sir, this was cascading, right?
absolutely. This is cascading. So what we have is the voltage gains get multiplied. This is AV2. So whatever here we get as AV1 into AV2. Okay? You must have studied this multi-stage amplifiers. Or have you started this?
Yes,
this
started.
So we
Started.
will start.
In AEC you must have started, no?
Yes, sir. Cascading
Okay.
of amplifiers.
Yes, yes. So it's simple cascading of the amplifiers. That's all. Now, the interesting thing is that can I use for this stage or this stage, can I use a single stage common emitter voltage amplifier? I can use this two stages, no? One cascaded by the, followed by the other. So my question is, can we use single stage common emitter voltage amplifier? Answer this question. Can I use this? Yes or no?
Practically not, sir.
No, sir.
No, why not?
Yes.
Why not? Tell me.
So the gain won't be sufficient.
Because the voltage is not sufficient.
But I can have multiple stages. Voltage gain one volt, amplifier 1 followed by amplifier 2. I can have huge gain. Isn't it? Then what is the problem? Gain is not a problem. Gain is not an issue. What may be the issue?
Matching,
Yes?
impedance matching.
Well, not really. Not really. I have moderate input impedance, that's fine. Output impedance is also moderate, that's also fine. Yes, there is a problem here with input impedance. Output impedance won't have any problem, but input impedance does have slight problem. We'll see that in more details. Anything else?
So they will be highly dependent on transistor parameter.
Already, but I can make use of feedback, no, to solve that problem. I'm not going to use it as open loop. Open loop gain can be very high, no problem with that. But I can ultimately, I'm not going to use it as open loop amplifier. I'm going to have a closed loop. So what may be the issue? I'll give you a circuit to think about. Do you know that there are some bridges, or let us say measurement bridges or Wheatstone bridge like structures? What is a Wheatstone bridge?
So
Something
the
like this.
ratio.
So combination of four resistances.
Yes, something like this, right? So I connect VCC here, I connect ground here, and most of the time Okay, you don't know about strain gauge, guys? Hello? Guys? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
There was a call drop, so I think there was. Okay, do you know what is a strain gauge? Yes or no?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, you don't know what is a strain gauge. Okay, do you know what is an LDR?
Yes, sir.
Okay, LDR is light dependent resistor. You have already studied that in the last course. Okay? So say for example, I want to make use of these LDRs. So I'll call this as the LDRs instead of strain gauge. I'll be using this as the LDRs, and then depending on that, the incident light, my output voltages are going to change. So it will be something like this. So this is the output voltage, VO. I mean, whatever is the output voltage of the bridge. So this voltage which is generated, let us call this as VA, or let us call this as V1. You know that V1 will be proportional to the incident light in lux. So we'll be having a simple lux meter. Have you seen something like this, guys?
Yes, sir.
Have you seen something like this? So I can keep this in dark, this particular thing in dark, and this I can expose to the light, ambient light, which I want to measure, the intensity of the ambient light which I want to measure. Okay, and then there will be an unbalance in the bridge, and correspondingly it will generate output voltage. I hope you have already studied Wheatstone bridge in your first year. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All of you? See, it's nothing great. You can simply rearrange this bridge like this, and this is where you generate the output. Okay, all this RA, RB, RC, and RD. So what is the output here? This is V, simple potential divider. So VO1 is RB, V into RB divided by RA plus RB. Similarly, VO2 is V into RD divided by RD plus RC. Okay? And what we have here is the net output voltage, which is the differential between these two. V output VO, which is called as, which is VO1 minus VO2, which gives me V into, yes, RB divided by RA plus RB minus RD divided by RD plus RC. Are you able to understand this, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now, if all these resistors are equal, what will be the output voltage? If all these resistors are of equal value, what will be the output voltage?
0.
Yes, correct. In that case, what will happen? RA might change, RD might not change. So there will be an unbalance. Okay. So your output voltage will no longer be 0.
Sir.
Okay? Understood?
Yes,
And so your output voltage will be proportional to the intensity of the light, which is incident on the LDR. So this is a way in which you can make a very, very simple lux meter. Okay? A meter which measures the intensity of light. Okay, now if I am having such a kind of device, such a kind of, it is called as a transducer bridge. This is called as a transducer bridge or a sensor bridge. It is also called as a sensor bridge. Okay, so let us have this bridge. Now I want to amplify the output of the bridge for various reasons. I have to amplify this bridge. This is your plus V. Now can I use a single stage voltage amplifier over here? Let me draw it again. Can I do it like this? Whatever is the loop. First of all, I cannot use the capacitors. Can I use the capacitors here? Can I use the capacitor? Guys, please respond.
No, sir.
Why not?
No, sir.
Because
Because we are working on DC.
this is DC, so this cannot be used. Okay, very good. So let us remove this. We can remove this, not a problem. Okay. This also has to be removed. Well, we'll not talk about it at this point of time. But now, how to connect it? Should I connect it like this? Should I connect it like this? Will this work? Guys, tell me. Will this work?
No, sir.
Why not?
The impedance mismatching.
No problem with impedance. I can always. There is a basic, very big flaw here. I want you to point it out. What is the problem? Come on, guys. Look at the circuit carefully. Tell me what is the problem? Come on, guys. Are you there? Guys, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Then tell me what is the problem? See the bridge carefully. One end of this resistor is connected to ground. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Another end of this resistor is also connected to ground. So what will happen to this guy? What will happen to this resistor, this particular element? Guys, what will happen to R2? R2 is simply short circuited, which is a dangerous thing. So you cannot use such a kind of circuit. Are you able to understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
you cannot use a single stage common emitter amplifier for such a kind of transducer bridge. Then what is expected? It is expected that your amplifier should have what is called as a differential input capability. So this is called as the differential input capability. And your common emitter, single stage common emitter amplifier does not have this capability. Are you able to understand this, guys? Guys,
Yes, sir.
so we have to hunt for a different type of circuit, different type of amplifier here. Okay? You cannot use a single stage amplifier as the building block or the input stage and the intermediate state of the operational amplifier. Also, it happens that because of the temperature variations, the collector voltage in case of single stage common emitter amplifier will also, this Q point will also be affected. Okay, so Q point is also affected by temperature. We have already seen this. ठीक है ना? So this is another problem with common emitter amplifier. Another problem, one more problem is there. What is that? Direct coupling cannot be done.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, how is R2 short circuited? Why is it not open circuited?
Huh?
Sir, both the terminals are connected to 0 voltage. So why is it short circuited?
What do you mean by this?
Sir, the R2 has both the terminals are grounded. That means they both are at 0 voltage. They're not receiving it.
They're short circuited, connected like this. Isn't it?
Pardon?
It is a short circuit, no? You
So
understand the concept? Have you understood the concept?
Sir,
that
but
means
current will not.
if it is short circuit, then it means the current will pass. But both the terminals are grounded. How will the current pass?
Array, but it is already short circuited means it is out of picture of this very important bridge. Are you able to understand that?
Okay, sir. Before providing voltage also.
There is no question of voltage. This, as if you are not using this resistor, you are simply connecting this directly to ground.
Okay, sir.
So what will happen to the bridge? What will happen to the bridge if this RB is short circuited like this? Here it will be 0. I mean, this is totally, destroying the concept of the bridge, no?
Yes, sir.
So have you understood now?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? So the first point was single stage common emitter amplifier does not have differential input capability, so it cannot be used. Second point is its Q point is also affected by temperature. We already know this equation. Partial differentiation of base emitter voltage with respect to temperature is minus 2 millivolts per degree Celsius. This also causes the Q point to drift. And what more? Anything else? Yeah, we have started with this. The direct coupling may shift the Q point. See here, we are not allowed to use a capacitor. So direct coupling. So this DC will affect the Q point. This voltage will be changed and correspondingly the Q point will also change. Isn't it?
Yes,
Guys, are you able to understand this?
Yes, sir.
So
yes.
we have come to the conclusion that single stage common emitter amplifier cannot be used for our operational amplifier input stages. And there is one more thing. What is that? We require these capacitors, no? This specifically this capacitor, bypass capacitor. Isn't it? So a large bypass capacitor is required. And when we want to make an integrated circuit, such a kind of capacitor is not possible for us to implement there. So, not, let us say, practicable for integrated circuits. Okay? So these are the basic limitations or major limitations of the single stage common emitter voltage amplifier, and it cannot be used for our input stage and the intermediate stage also. So we have to search for an alternative voltage amplifier. So we'll do that tomorrow. Okay? So just to sum up what we have seen today. Yes? We started with saying that the open loop voltage gain of such an amplifier, which we will be calling as operational amplifier, the requirement is that the open loop voltage gain should be ideally infinite, input impedance should be infinite ideally, output impedance should be ideally 0, bandwidth should be infinite, and slew rate also should be infinite. Okay? And then we started off with discussing the block diagram of the typical operational amplifier, wherein there were two stages required because we require a very large gain. Okay? And so we said that why not use single stage common emitter voltage amplifier, use two such amplifiers to make input stage and the intermediate stage. We said that there are a lot of limitations as far as the single stage, the common emitter amplifier is concerned, and so we have to search for a new circuit. Is that okay?
Yes,
Guys?
sir.
So we'll stop here for today. If there are any